It's a new day. It's a new week. We just got done with a weekend where Cody has been in absolute purgatory and travel hell, but he's back home now for at least a day. It's a new day where we've gotten a scrimmage under our belts from the Texas Longhorns, and it's a day where we have the AP rankings dropping, where Texas is just barely in first place, and it will not be a consensus 1-2 matchup versus Texas and Ohio State whenever those two face off here at the end of the month in Columbus. We're going to talk about the scrimmage from the weekend, all the rest of it. First, we need to tell you about our great sponsors, the Man Eye Institute. You can call them at 1-844-WOW-2020, 844-WOW-2020, the Man Eye Institute. See life better. Thanks so much to the Man Eye Institute for being the presenting sponsor here of the Football with Friends show on Orange Bloods Live. Cody, so Texas is still ranked number one, 1,552 points to Penn State's 1,547. And so it's like skin of their teeth, but they are one in both of the major polls, the college coaches poll and the AP poll. But it's interesting. It comes with a backdrop of, you see Penn State sort of rise up a little bit. And I don't know if that has to do with the fact that there's a perceived veteran quarterback there and Drew Aller, if that's the reason why they would be elevated in the AP poll above Ohio State. We know that Ohio State lost a lot of really, really key pieces. Penn State was a beneficiary of one of those key pieces as far as their defensive coordinator position, but also they've done a great job adding some wide receivers in the portal, getting some talent there around their, I guess their stud quarterback. I don't know how you feel about Drew Aller, but I'm still, for me, the jury's still pretty much out on the guy. We have the Texas scrimmage this weekend where the offense, as we talked about on Final Takes, we would like to see some improvement or hear some good things from the offense. We certainly did hear some good things, but there are some things that were a little bit concerning to hear that definitely need some improvement. So with all that, Cody, I'll hand it over to you and just say, where are you with these new rankings? And then we'll get into what we've heard about coming out of the scrimmage.
Well, I do want to say first off about these rankings that our conference, the SEC, and I know people will say, "Well, I hate when people say our conference." It's our conference. It's the best conference in America. Texas belongs to it. They're the top of the food chain. There's not one, not two, not three, not four. There's 10 SEC teams in the top 20.
It just means more. It just means more.
10 in the top 24. And if you're going off of a 12-team playoff, there's 4 teams into the top 12. South Carolina's 13. It just means more. And the SEC is as strong as it's ever been. Obviously, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, those top 4 teams. So that's my biggest takeaway is just that. You have to just look at this conference as the king. And Tennessee is the 10th ranked team. And they're, looked at in the coaches and AP poll very differently, 18th and 24th. A lot of people don't know exactly how they feel about Tennessee, but Oklahoma as well. They exist in one and not the other. It's an interesting situation. Big thought from the weekend of scrimmages.
Can I just say one thing before you get into that? Even though these SEC teams, they're going to, 10, whatever in the top 25, for one, it can't stay like that because they all got to play each other.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's so wild to hear that, or to kind of, it's so wild to think about, some of these teams that have really high hopes, right? The Floridas, the South Carolinas, the Ole Misses, the Tennessees, just heck, maybe Georgia, Texas, LSU, the teams that are predicted at the very top, Alabama. There are gonna be some of these teams that they're gonna get slapped with some kind of 7-win season when they're hoping to win 11 games, and it's just it'll be interesting to see. All right, as far as the Longhorns
go this weekend, I think the 2 things that popped out to me the most. And I was at a wedding on Saturday, so I missed a lot of the immediate stuff. But if you missed a lot of the immediate stuff, go over to orangebloods.com. You can still get all of the reports from Alex, from Jason, from Ketch, from Anwar, from everybody over at orangebloods.com. Go check that out. I read it on my flight home yesterday, and the 2 things that popped out to me immediately was CJ Baxter having success in the goal line, wearing a brace, scoring a touchdown. And then at the same time, I can't remember who it was, but Derek Williams was noted as to upending. I can't remember if it was Christian.
Michael Terry.
Who was it?
Michael Terry.
Michael Terry. Upend. He was like, upend. Derek Williams upends Michael Terry. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So those were the two because they're both injured guys. And just hearing that they were A, participating in the scrimmage, B, making plays in the scrimmage, and C, it wasn't like, oh, he's dinged up, he's not 100%. It was, plummeting into the end zone, pushing the pile for Baxter, and then making a big hit for Derek Williams. That was my two main, just outside of like injury stuff. Those were the two big takeaways I had.
Yeah, and so that goes to show you that I did hear Derek Williams was working back in with the ones, and I think that's to be expected. I think by the time he's back fully healthy, it's going to be a 3 safety rotation, and we'll just have to decide, or we won't. We'll just have to. They'll have to decide whether or not moving Jelani McDonald back to the star position for Grayson Littleton is the best is the way to get the best the best 5 on the field as far as the defensive backfield, or whether just kind of rotating in. They've kind of liked rotating in three safeties under Coach PK. So we'll see how things go with that. But it is still Jelani McDonald and Michael Taff who were technically starting, and the fact that came against Michael Terry, it probably showed that he was in there with the second defense going against the second offense, right? For me, I think that was interesting. We had a couple little minor injuries, and those do appear to be minor. We'll have more through the week on Orange Bloods, but Cole Brevard had to leave practice. And then we also had Nick Brooks had to leave practice. I think Cole Brevard actually came back during the scrimmage, so he was fine. We'll keep an eye on Nick Brooks. Obviously, they can't be losing any depth at that right tackle spot where they've already had the bad luck with Andre Kojo. The starters on the defensive line, from what I was told, were Murad Watson and Alex January. I don't know if that had anything to do with the thing with Brevard sort of being absent for a while there, with January being in there. But obviously, January making a push, he's going to be a critical depth piece, it looks like, which is really good to hear. He's the guy that Texas needed to step up. And we've heard along the way that he's a guy who is physically right where they want him to be as far as his progression. So good to hear that he's coming along nicely and getting to work in with the ones. That on the other side of the coin, with and those guys I was told looked really good. On the other side of the coin, man, like the offensive line needs to come together and it needs to everybody's. I just feel like, at least me, I've just been like, they're going to get it together because it's Coach Kyle Flood, and they got some guys there, like say Cole Hudson, for example, right? I mean, a key player on the team, right? Like that's your starting center, right? And you say, well, he's a guy that started as a true freshman. He's played a lot of games rotating in last year at right guard with DJ Campbell, right? The fact that they would take DJ Campbell off the field just to get those guys, to get Cole Hudson out there, goes to show you that they probably like him. But we're talking about a guy last year that allowed disruption, either a sack, a quarterback hit, a pressure, a run stuff, a TFL, or committed a penalty once every 15.566 snaps. That was worst among starters, backups, anybody. Like that's an unacceptable number. And we've just kind of been going along the line saying, like, well, he's got to be better this year. Some of the early returns so far have said that the defensive line has really given these guys trouble, especially on the interior. They got to be able to move guys better. And I know that they're out there, they're doing their best, they're working really hard, but it's like, coming into this season, if I would have had a concern, I would have said it's probably the defensive line, because they've had to go to the transfer portal. Even after spring, they go transfer portal. The fact of the matter is, those guys, there's no issue there. No issue at all. It's like not an issue at all. The issue right now, I think, which weirdly, it doesn't even feel like it's the tackles as much as it is the center and the two guards. I don't know if you have thoughts about it, or if I don't want to overreact, but it feels like after that scrimmage, man, that was what people were pointing at, saying like that. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit worrisome.
Two things I would say to this is one, we talked about this on Friday in kind of our like preview show, saying like I just wonder what that dynamic is going to be, interior versus interior, and it kind of sounds like we got our answer. Two would be, I feel like in situations like this that we're going through right now, hearing how dominant the defense is against this offense, when the offense is always 11 times out of 10 in media conversations going to get the, well, they should be the ones doing this, they should be the ones doing that, they got Arch, they got this, they got that. When in reality, it's like we knew this defense was great. The 2024 defense, Ketch did a top 10 list this weekend of all the all-time Texas defenses, and the 2024 defense was on there. And I commented and I said, where's the 2025 defense going to be if you had to predict today? He said top 5 all time. Top 5 all. If this is a top 5 all-time Texas defense and they're doing this, in training camp to the offense, this is what you want. This is the thing where you go to camps, right? And you get the one-on-one wide receiver versus cornerback routes, and it always favors who?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time.
The wide receiver versus corner routes?
Yeah.
I would say it favors the receiver.
Every time, right?
Yeah. It's like offensive line, defensive line, right?
And this is what I'm saying is like in practices like this, I think that you going through training camp, I think defense, if you have an upper hand on defense, it favors the defense every time in practice to have a stranglehold on an offense with a new quarterback and new connections to receiver and new cohesion on the offensive line. But in the long run, if you go through that for 4 or 5 weeks, and then that offense all of a sudden goes, as good as Ohio State is, they're number 3 in the AP, right? As good as Ohio State is, this offense has 5 weeks going against this Texas defense that is looked at as potentially top 5 all time at Texas, and most likely top 5 in the sport this year, potentially number 1 or 2. That Texas offense all of a sudden is going to get to go against Ohio State. It's going to be in a completely different vibe. And I think everything's going to shake out and be just fine by the end of training camp. Again, we still got 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks. So about 19, 20 days before the Ohio State game. I don't think you're overreacting, but I would just say nobody should be overreacting. There's still plenty of time for Sark and Coach Flood to get this thing dialed in on the offensive side of the ball. And we have to just take a step back and remember that this was always going to favor this, more veteran defense early in camp. And we shouldn't be overly shocked, even though it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, well, it was fortunate that from what we heard, they ended practice with a big, deep, like 25, 30-yard bomb from Arch Manning to Ryan Wingo to kind of end it and end on a good note as far as the practice. Good to hear Ryan Wingo is just out there making plays. The guy is a total alpha. Which is a good segue to our seasoning, the Alpha Seasoning. Make sure and go check it out, alphaseasoning.com. We're having to make a new order, Cody. People are selling us out again. Crazy, man. We should show some pictures tomorrow of some of the pictures that they're putting up over on Orange Bloods, the food that they're cooking with this stuff. But it's a great seasoning blend. Cody and I made it. It's just the best. alphaseasoning.com. Y'all are the best. Thanks so much for being here. We certainly appreciate it. We're going to try and get some practice notes from the rest of the week to keep everybody updated. But man, it's like we're coming right down to it, dude. We are here. We have made it back to where, like Cody said, as hard as it is to believe, we have. What did you just say, Cody? It's what was it? 19 days?
19 days
until the game?